Ang weather parang buhay lang din. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And there's nothing you can do about it but to be just prepared. Kaya tuloy-tuloy lang sa pagharap sa buhay. Manatiling matatag dahil may kasabihan na sometimes in life you have to be weather the storm or to weather the storm. And when you do, there's always sunshine at the end. Kaya keep on smiling and keep on believing. Ako po si Jel Miranda, ang inyong ka-online at ka-forever. We welcome you to DOSTv, your most comprehensive real-time authority on the latest weather updates. Dahil weather lang ang laging nandyan, taga-raw man o tag-ulan, hindi nang iiwan kahit sino ka man. Remember that folks, it's DOSTv, reporting live from Pag-asa Weather and Flood Forecasting Center. Ang DOSTv ay mapapanood ninyo Mondays to Fridays, 11 a.m. to 12 noon, dito lang sa www.dostv.ph. At live na rin po tayo sa Facebook at facebook.com/DOSTVPH. Kaya makisabay na rin sa live streaming namin. For today's episode, makakausap po natin ang founder ng isang startup that offers creative agencies, broadcasters, and advertisers an automated monitoring platform to track broadcast media across different channels like radio, TV, and streaming media. Paano kaya tinulungan ang startup na ito ng DOST? Malalaman natin yan mamaya. Pero bago yan, alamin muna natin ang magiging lagay ng panahon for today. Heto ng ating Pag-asa correspondent, Mr. Unyx Sta para sa ating ulat panahon.
Thank you, Ms. Jel. Good morning sa iyo at good morning din sa ating mga viewers ng DOSTv. Sa ngayon po, monitor pa rin natin na low pressure area ay nasa loob pa rin po ng Philippine Area of Responsibility. At huli itong namataan kaninang alas 4 ng madaling araw sa layong 930 kilometers silangan ng bayan ng Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur. At base po sa ating analysis ay mababa pa rin ang tsansa na ito'y maging isang bagyo at tumama sa kalupaan. At sa ngayon po, hindi naman ito direktang nakakaapekto sa ating bansa. Sa ngayon po, northeast monsoon pa rin o amihan na siya makakaapekto sa mga kababayan po natin sa norte. Tingnan po natin ang magiging weather for Luzon. Kung mapapansin po natin, may maulap na kalangitan dito sa parting Batanes at kabilang na rin ang mga bayan or lalawigan ng Cagayan, Apayao at Ilocos Norte dahil po sa northeast monsoon or amihan. So asahan po natin magiging malamig sa kanilang lugar, lalo na sa madaling araw dahil po sa malamig na simoy ng hangin. At dahil meron pong amihan, posible pa rin yung mga mahihinang pagulan at buong araw po ay bahagyang maulap hanggang sa maulap ang magiging kalangitan. Dito naman po sa natitirang bahagi ng Luzon, kung mapapansin natin, in general, magiging maganda naman ang panahon at magiging bahagyang maulap na kalangitan ng mararanasan. Dito po sa silangang bahagi ng Luzon, so simula po dito sa Isabela, down to Bicol region. Asahan din po yung mga pulupulong mahihinang pagulan, mga panandalian lamang. At dito naman sa Metro Manila at sa kanlurang bahagi ng Luzon, kung mapapansin po natin, ay hindi masyadong maulap, maaliwalas ang panahon at asahan na magiging mainit pagsapit ng tanghali. At posible pa rin ang mga mahihinang pagulan pero mas mababa ang tsansa. Dumako naman po tayo sa ating temperature range for Luzon. Sa Metro Manila, maglalaro pa rin mula 21 hanggang 32 degrees ang ating temperatura. Dito naman sa Baguio, mas malamig pa. Ngayong araw, 13 hanggang 23 degrees Celsius. Dito naman po sa Tagaytay, 19 hanggang 28 degrees. And then finally sa Puerto Princesa naman ay 24 hanggang 32 degrees Celsius. Dumako naman po tayo sa ating magiging weather for Visayas and Mindanao. Kung mapapansin po natin, bahagyang maulap na kalangitan ang nararanasan ng mga kababayan natin dito sa Negros Island Region and Central Visayas. Habang maaliwalas naman ang panahon ng nararanasan dito sa Eastern and Western Visayas. Posible pa rin yung mga pulupulong mahihinang pagulan or pagkidlat pagkulog. Dito naman po sa Mindanao, kung mapapansin natin, medyo maulap dito sa may parteng ARMM, Soxargen and Zamboanga Peninsula pero wala naman po dong mga malalakas na mga pagulan na inaasahan. Mga pulupulong pagkidlat pagkulog ang kanilang posibleng maranasan at dito naman sa natitirang bahagi ng Mindanao ay sa ngayon po maaliwalas naman ang panahon at minsan ay nagiging maulap lamang. Posible pa rin ang mga isolated thunderstorms. Dumako naman po tayo sa ating magiging temperature dito sa Visayas and Mindanao. Sa Metro Cebu, 24 hanggang 31 degrees Celsius ang ating temperatura. Dito naman sa Iloilo, 25 hanggang 32 degrees. Sa Metro Davao, gayon din, 25 hanggang 32 degrees Celsius. And finally, sa Zamboanga City, 24 hanggang 32 degrees Celsius. Sa ngayon po dahil sa northeast monsoon or amihan, meron po tayong gale warning dito po sa baybayin ng Batanes. Umaabot from 3.4 hanggang 4.5 meters ang mga pag-alon doon. So bawal munang pumalaot ang mga kababayan doon na nangingisda at yung may maliliit na sasakyang pandagat. Sa ngayon po wala rin tayong namamataan na bagyo sa loob ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility at walang inaasahang papasok within the next 2 days. Dumako naman po tayo sa ating sunset and sunrise. Si Haring Araw ay lulubog mamayang 5:25 ng hapon at muling sisikat bukas ng umaga, 5:55 ng umaga. At mula pa rin dito sa Weather Forecasting Center ng DOST Pag-asa, ako po si Unyx Sta reporting for DOSTv.
And for an exclusive content na dito nyo lang sa DOSTv makikita, here's Mr. Elmer Caringal for our flood and water level advisory.
Maraming salamat Miss Jill at magandang umaga sa iyo at sa viewers ng DOSTv. Dam update po tayo dito sa mga minomonitor nating major dam dito sa Luzon area. Una, yung Angat Dam, ang kanyang present elevation as of 6 a.m. today is 206.10. Galing siya sa 206.19 kahapon. Meron siyang bahagyang pagbaba na 0.09 meters. Subalit gayon pa man, pasok pa rin siya dun sa tinatawag nating operational level na 180 to 210 meters. Gayon din para naman dito sa San Roque, ang kanyang present elevation is 282.90, galing siya sa 282.85 kahapon. Meron siyang bahagyang pagtaas na 0.05 meters at mataas naman siya dun sa tinatawag nating operational level na 3.77 meters. Gayon din para naman dito sa Pantabangan Dam, ang kanyang present elevation is 205.75. Galing siya sa 205.65 kahapon at meron siyang bahagyang pagtaas na 0.10 meters. At asahan natin sa mga sunod na araw, continuous pa rin ang pagtaas nitong Pantabangan Dam. Subalit mababa naman siya dun sa tinatawag nating roll curve na halos 6.31 meters. At para naman sa Magat Dam, ang kanyang present elevation is 191.17, galing siya sa 191.42 kahapon at meron siyang bahagyang pagbaba na 0.25 meters. Wala naman tayong inaasahang weather system na posibleng magpaulan o magbigay ng malakas na pag-ulan dito nga sa mga watershed ng mga nabanggit na dam. At para naman dun sa minomonitor nating major river basin like yung Pampanga, Agno, Bicol, Cagayan at itong ang Pasig, Marikina, wala po tayong flood bulletin na inisyu o yung tinatawag nating flood warning. Gayon din dito sa mga region natin, like yung dito sa region ng Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao, wala rin po tayong ibinigay na babala o yung tinatawag nating flood warning. Yan muna ang latest gel at mula pa rin dito sa Flood Forecasting Center ng Pag-asa DOST, Hydromet Division. Ako po si Elmer Caringal, nag-uulat.
Samantala, huling araw na para suportahan ang representative ng ating bansa sa Breakthrough Junior Challenge, help Hilary Dayan Andales go straight to the final round of the challenge, skipping the next round of official judging by liking and sharing her video entry through the link na makikita ninyo sa screen or check out her video at Breakthrough's Facebook page. Hanggang ngayong 3 p.m. na lang ito, kaya like and share na. Breakthrough Junior Challenge is an annual global competition for students to inspire creative thinking about science. Students ages 13 to 18 from countries across the globe are invited to create and submit original videos 5 minutes in length maximum to the Breakthrough Junior Challenge that bring to life a concept or theory in the life sciences, physics, or mathematics. Panoorin po natin ang kanyang entry.
Have you ever wondered, why exactly does light have to travel in a straight line when it can go like this or this? Similarly, why does the electron have to follow this one particular orbit around the nucleus when it can go like this or this? From what you observed, you might think that things like light and electrons prefer certain paths over the others. Now, why is there such a preference? Do they have a mind which tells them to prefer one path over the other? The answer to our questions is this equation right here. Now don't worry, I'll explain it in simple terms. This equation is Feynman's path integral formulation of quantum mechanics. It's also called the sum over histories method. Path integral literally means sum of paths. You have this point particle at A. To calculate its probability of arriving in B, you have to consider all of the possible paths in space and time between A and B. As Murray Gell-Mann said, everything not forbidden is compulsory. But each compulsory path doesn't have an equal probability of getting taken. In this equation, we have each path multiplied with this block, which indicates that path's probability amplitude. So, if a path has a greater probability amplitude, its weight is greater. Then you sum all of these up. As you sum them up, the paths with greater amplitudes have a greater contribution to the final sum of paths. I just said sum of paths. How exactly do you sum paths up? Actually, what you add in the paths are their probability amplitudes. And since amplitudes are properties of waves, we should just be adding waves. Here we have the perfect principle telling us how to add waves. The principle of superposition. When two waves interfere like these water waves, they add up to produce a final wave. Let's illustrate this with my device right here. We have two waves. When crest meets crest, notice that the wave sum they make is a wave with higher amplitude. It's like their amplitudes reinforce each other. This is constructive interference. Now when I push this farther, such that crest meets trough, they should produce destructive interference. Notice that their amplitudes cancelled out into a flat line with zero amplitude. Their amplitudes just mutually destroyed each other. Back to the question at the beginning of this video. Actually, what the light and the electrons did is they tried all of the possible and compulsory paths. But the preferred paths we saw, the straight photon path and the circular electron path, are just the result of the constructive, mutually reinforcing, coherent, and synergistic interference of the paths. And because of their huge contribution to the final amplitude, they had the most probability of being observed by us. Now, why do I consider the path integral as perhaps the greatest generalization in physics? When you think about it, the essential idea behind the path integral can be applied to all of the interacting systems in the universe. An entity, be it an electron, an atom, a person, an organism, or corporation, or a country, can do anything it likes. However, only those constructive, coherent, harmonious, and synergistic interactions survive and thrive. On the other hand, destructive and incoherent interactions lead to mutual annihilation and destructions. So, as time goes by, we see more incoherent entities disappear and the coherent ones remain. This is evident in the beautiful and seemingly orchestrated evolution of things, from atoms, matter, organisms, and galaxies, to socio-political structures and even human affairs. Perhaps even to all interacting entities in the entire universe. So in summary, what the path integral teaches us is that the most probable or the most preferred path is the path towards harmony, constructive interaction, coherence, and synergy.
Arco is a mobile application which provides users with accessible, understandable, and accurate information about flood hazards. It is created to empower the Filipinos by providing them with critical information for disaster preparedness and mitigation. The Philippines is hit by an average of 20 typhoons every year, causing massive floods, which over the years has destroyed Filipino communities and caused many casualties. By utilizing the accessible and understandable information on floods in ARCO, users can identify early on which areas in their community are flood prone and which areas are safe and could be used for evacuation. Once you open the ARCO application through your smartphone or tablet, a flood hazard map within the 2.5 kilometer radius in your area will appear. Information such as the areas which will be affected by floods and the expected flood height will also appear. The flood levels shown in the ARCO app are categorized in red, orange, and yellow. Areas marked in red in the ARCO map are extremely dangerous. ARCO also provides hourly rain forecasts of up to 4 hours in any given area. It also features typhoon track markers within the Philippine area of responsibility, enabling users to monitor typhoons from the comforts of their smartphones and tablets. The ARCO mobile application was developed in cooperation with the mobile team of Point West Technologies Corporation. It is available for download in Android and iOS. This tool is a continuous effort from Project NOAA and the Department of Science and Technology to empower and prepare every Filipino community against flood. By bringing information directly to them, we can build a culture of Filipinos who are prepared and responsive against disaster.
Orchestronix Corporation is a Filipino startup that offers creative agencies, broadcasters, and advertisers an automated monitoring platform to track broadcast media across different channels like radio, TV, and streaming media. Today, the company's cloud-based service, Orchestronix, monitors over 500,000 advertising spots and close to 230,000 commercials across 100 radio and TV stations in Mega Manila and surrounding areas. At first, the concept behind Orchestronix was to monitor music. Pero katulad din ng ibang negosyo, naging challenging ang umpisa ng kumpanya. And to build on their startup business, they became part of DOST, Advanced Science and Technology Institute's Open Technology Business Incubator or TBI for 2 years, where they learned about the small enterprise technology upgrading program or setup of DOST. And upon acquisition of assistance through DOST setup on June 2012, tuloy-tuloy na ang pag-unlad ng negosyong ito. At para magkwento pa ng kanilang success story, makakausap po natin mismo ang co-founder and CEO ng Orchestronix Corporation. Let us all welcome Miss Unyx Santa Ana. Good morning!
Hi, magandang umaga.
Of course, welcome to DOSTv. Orchestronix Corporation. Kanina may mga nabanggit na kami. Ano pa yung other details kung paano talaga nagsimula itong business ninyo?
So, we founded in 2010.
Okay.
It was my co-founder, Raymond, who approached me and asked me if we want to pursue the idea we had back then in college. Kasi we're both taking up computer science, classmates kami, and we work on projects together. Tapos when we were looking for a thesis topic, gusto namin, we built a system around creative industries. So, we both like music. Sabi namin, why not we track songs playing on radio and TV, and then that will make a more accurate royalty collection for the composers and publishers. So, that was the original idea back in college. So, sabi niya, let's continue. So, we worked for a while. We worked for about 2 years. I had my stint with Microsoft Philippines, and si Raymond naman nag-work as software engineer sa SPI Technologies. And we founded the company together. So, we built the system. It was just Raymond and I in the beginning. And the original idea really is to track songs. And as we go along and talk to people and tell them about the concept, they kept on saying, why not use the same technology to track advertising?
Okay.
And that was the main thing that triggered na hanapin namin and understand the market. So we shifted the use case to tracking commercials on radio and TV.
So ano yung other services pa na ino-offer nyo aside from this? So yung Orchestronix ay one of the services lang or products na ino-offer ninyo.
So Orchestronix Corporation has always been known for Orchestronix.
Okay.
So we're a product technology-based company. And then we expanded now. So the way we position Orchestronix Corporation is we're a project engineering startup around building products in media and advertising space. So aside from Orchestronix that we have and we've been known for, we also have Yanihan, digitizing survey platform, and then Wave Turner, that's a marketplace where it's easy to buy and sell radio advertising.
So pero yung Orchestronix, ito yung pinaka, ano ba to? Mabenta ba to? Or parang pinaka
Well,
main
kasi
product?
that drove the reason why we have a business right now,
Okay.
diba? And it's also the product or project na DOST really supported from the very beginning.
So ito, paano nyo nakuha or paano nag-start na humingi kayo ng assistance sa DOST?
We have to know that Raymond and I, we don't have business background, right? So it's just about being resourceful. At the time na we decided to leave corporate world, sabi namin, we should look for our own space, diba? We can't just like work always in coffee shops,
Okay.
kasi it can get expensive din. Saka papatayan ka na pag 2 a.m. na, diba? So, we Googled and nakita namin may mga incubators out there, and the most fitting one would be a program handled by DOST. It's called DOST Open TBI, Open Technology Business Incubator.
Yes.
So we applied sometime last quarter 2010, and then we officially got in 2011. We stayed there for 3 years. So incubator facility siya, and DOST, what they do is they connect us with the resources or the people we need to help us get our business going, up to the point na may pumupunta mga DOST personnel, officers in the incubator and tell us yung mga iba-ibang programs they have. The first program na we availed of from DOST, it's called DOST Setup.
Yes.
So we applied there and we got a loan to get things started, to build our, kasi when we're talking about orchestra, we have servers, diba? So at that time, we don't know how we could fund it, and we're very fortunate na partner namin si DOST, mas mabilis yung naging processing ng application, and they help us together put all the requirements sa mga kailangan na application and information that they need. So we got a loan, and very friendly setup, like actually kind of no interest at all, and 3 years payback. So that fund we used to build our first prototype.
Yes.
So
okay.
R&D stage eh. And then after that, well, we're still getting benefits from OpenTBI, getting support from them. Another group came in and talked about, hey, we also have technology for commercialization program that you can avail of. So I studied it and we applied for one.
Okay.
And this one naman, grant siya. So we got a grant from DOST. You see, there's just a lot of programs you
Sobrang
can avail
dami,
of.
diba?
Yeah. And I'm very, very thankful with DOST.
So nung nag-apply kayo for setup, magkano yung binigay nila sa inyong assistance?
About over 100,000.
Okay.
And we just have to itemize yung mga equipment
Kailangan
na
equipment,
kailangan.
oo.
Right.
So that, from that point, meron na kayong server and other equipment
Right,
na
right.
kinailangan ninyo sa
Yes,
pagsisimula.
yes.
Oo. Tapos, after 2 years, ano ba, nag-avail kayo
So
ulit, apply?
we stayed in the facility, yung
Okay.
Open TBI, di ba? Kasi ang daming mga support na na-extend sa amin for 3 years. Pero I can't remember exactly kung ano na yung timeline. After maybe a year, we applied for a grant. I think that was 2013.
2013 yan.
Yes. So 2012, kung 2012 si setup, 2013 si grant.
Okay. So until now, nakaka-receive pa kayo?
No, if
Oy,
we
for
finish,
that
it's just
lang.
really for one project. So now, because it bridged us to go to market, we're able to get clients. So okay na.
Pero sa ngayon ba, dito sa Philippines, meron bang ibang kumpanya na ganito rin ang ginagawa? Kasi sa akin parang bagong bagay ito yung nagtitrack ng commercial, let's say mga commercial sa radio and TV, na monitor na nila ng may database na compared yun sa mga mano-mano. Yun lang kasing alam ko, monitor mo, manonood ka, lalabas yung commercial mo, i-take down note mo, parang gano'n, diba?
Well, maybe there is, but I haven't heard anybody yet because we're catering to media agencies and broadcasting network as our clients, and wala naman sila nabanggit na anybody else doing automated monitoring of advertising. But there are certainly foreign providers.
Pero syempre, sabi mo kanina, nakwento mo, nag-start sa thesis, way back ng college ka pa. Di ba parang, ano yung naging inspiration mo in a way na i-pursue talaga ito? Although meron challenges talaga ng kinaharap kayo.
I know as a kid, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Wala pa nga, hindi pa uso yung entrepreneur na world eh. Basta parang pag tinatanong ng mga preschool teacher, ano gusto mo paglaki mo? Sasabi ko, gusto ko maging businesswoman. And then yung mga kaklase ko, gusto nila maging doctor, maging teacher, di ba? So, I knew from the very early stage of my life that I wanted to go into business. I just didn't realize na I'll do it immediately. So, I have that drive. I've always wanted to do something that will make an impact, and I'll have creative freedom to get things done. For my partner, for my co-founder Raymond naman, I think, by the way, he was a musician before. He joined a band and it was signed up by Sony BMG. Si Raymond naman, after graduating, parang meron siyang stint ng pag-freelance developer. Tapos he enjoyed making contracts and sabi niya, I could jump ship to putting up my own business. I like the freedom, I like negotiating, I like the business concepts around it. So we talked together and all. So, and we are very passionate about technology. And making the technology happen and come into reality. So, ganun yung naging motivation namin. And of course, we have to assess na it's not about karang kaya ba natin to. It's more of like yung mental capability na, kasi you know it will really be hard. And we know it from the very beginning. So sabi namin, we're ready to drop everything off, di ba? Let's just do it.
At saka kung yun ang passion mo, talagang magtatagumpay ka, di ba?
Right.
At lalo nag-i-enjoy ka, nagiging productive ka talaga. At ang setup po talaga, ang DOST setup, hindi lang basta yung mga negosyo na usual alam natin, nagbebenta, merong product or pagkain, di ba? Ito talaga, software company.
So, it was interesting kasi most of the prior projects na they funded ay nasa food, mga packaging or mga
Labeling,
herbal, diba? So, I think timely lang na they created mga provisions for ICT-based projects. So, parang naging excited din sila na to also have a technology-based project under their portfolio.
Hindi naging mahirap ang process?
No, not at all. I love DOST people. So thank you for inviting me here. Finally, I can tell the world na I love working with DOST.
Of course.
It's just, syempre, dapat masipag ka lang because madaming mga templates na you have to fill in. Pero those are easy to really accomplish. If you're a business person naman, you would know, kunyari, they would need financial projections or they would, of course, need your business plan in general. That's all right. you just have to follow their template. May mga work plan sila. Sanay na nga ako mag-work yata sa government kasi I know about line item budgeting. So, all those. So, not at all. Ang bilis. Like, from the very day na I emailed and asked about the program, I got a reply immediately. Even for grant, I mean, it's bigger amount than the loan, pero parang, ang bilis din. Madaming step. Kasi madaming mag-screen sa'yo up to the executive committee, di ba? But, everything's very smooth. As long as you follow the requirements, you have the documentation in place.
Compared before, na magsisimula ka pa lang, wala pang assistance from DOST, ano masasabi mo na parang difference talaga, big difference?
Well, it was different experience for us kasi we learned entrepreneurship on the job eh. So, and I think magaling lang na ang resourceful namin then, and DOST was there to give us guide kung, oh, hey, you should tap this and that, and it's up to us kung anong sipag level yung kaya namin ibigay. So, nakatulong talaga. Like, bridge yung prototype namin, i-bridge kami sa go-to-market, di ba?
So, hindi na-stop yung assistance sa pagbibigay lang ng funding, di ba? Tuloy-tuloy with marketing, training, meron din.
Even up to now, even if tapos na yung mga financial aid, they would still ask, oh, kamusta? Can I help with your patent application? They still check from time to time. And I would understand it kasi gusto nila na to make sure yung mga ma-assist nila would really be successful and, you know, yung create ng jobs, etc.
Meron pa bang mga future plan? Pero bago pa lang lahat ng yan, syempre mamaya masihimayin pa natin yung ating, kasi parang na-enjoy na natin yung interesting topic na ito, hindi ba? Pero mas kikilalanin pa natin yung kumpanya or yung business nila Unyx, maya-maya lamang mga ka-forever. Talaga naman napaka-interesting ng software na nade-develop nitong Orchestronix Corporation. Ang technology talaga malaki ang naitutulong sa kahit anong aspeto ng buhay. Pero let's take a break muna mga ka-forever at sa aming pagbabalik, aalamin pa natin lalo kung paano nakatulong ang DOST sa pagpapaunlad ng negosyong ito. Pero samantala, panoorin po muna natin ang susunod na video tungkol sa iba pang projects at tulong na handog ng DOST para sa mamamayang Pilipino.
The Greater Metropolitan Manila area has a long history of natural disasters and extreme weather events. Following the calamity of Typhoon Ondoy in September 2009, which caused about 500 deaths and damage of about 41 billion pesos, the Greater Metropolitan Manila Area Risk Analysis Project was begun. Covering the 16 cities and one municipality of Metropolitan Manila, as well as parts of Bulacan, Cavite, and Rizal, the study looked at the hazards of flood, wind, and earthquake. The project is a collaboration between the technical agencies of the Government of Philippines, supported by the Government of Australia Aid Program and Geoscience Australia. The aim of the project has been to give a much clearer understanding of the risks from natural disasters, of where the risks are greatest, and of how the dangers can be reduced. This analysis identifies three main types of potential risk: flooding in the Pasig-Marikina River Basin, severe winds associated with tropical cyclones, and risks from damaging earthquakes from the West Valley Fault. Natural hazard risk analysis involves understanding the relationship between a hazard, the exposure or elements at risk, and the vulnerability of those elements. Risk can be expressed in terms of physical damage, economic loss, or the number of people killed or injured. Information was developed that first built an understanding of how people live and work in the Greater Metropolitan Manila area. The study area included the low-lying areas along Manila Bay and Laguna de Bay, the flood-prone Pasig-Marikina River Basin, the elevated areas in Rizal Province to the east, and the West Valley Fault, which passes north to south through the metropolitan area. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, was the first major set of data to be collected. An aircraft flying over the greater metropolitan Manila area used a special laser scanning device to measure the profile of the landform and the heights of such features as trees and buildings. From these measurements, a digital elevation model, or DEM, was constructed. The model gives us an overview of an area that is home to about 12 million people. But where do they live? Where do they work? And what makes them vulnerable to natural hazards? Using the best available data from many sources, a picture of the built environment is developed. Of building density, of population density, of the current land use, of building heights, and of the complex mixture of the age and type of buildings that are present across the metropolitan area. All of the information about the characteristics of exposure that are needed for risk analysis have been gathered and organised into a spatially enabled exposure database. To estimate the vulnerability of buildings exposed to natural hazards, engineering models for different building types were developed. Not all buildings will experience the same level of damage when they are exposed to the same level of hazard. For example, engineered reinforced concrete buildings will, on average, suffer less damage than unreinforced masonry buildings when subjected to the same level of ground shaking. Hence, vulnerability models were developed for different building types to characterise the average economic loss for each building type. Economic damage is complex. Low-cost buildings may be destroyed and be inexpensively replaced, but high-cost, well-constructed buildings may suffer minor damage that is relatively expensive to repair. All of this is reflected in datasets estimating the costs of damage. The relationship between wind and the landscape changes the impact of severe winds on the city. Winds increase in ferocity as they flow over hills, over ridges, and over high ground. Areas such as the open space of the airport, of Manila Bay, and of the riverbanks experience higher wind speeds than built-up areas. Knowing wind strength means knowing how buildings, billboards, and shanties will be affected. The areas of greatest damage can be seen in the mountainous regions in the east and along the escarpment of the West Valley Fault. The steep topography in these areas, combined with the presence of wooden and makeshift structures in the rural areas, are the reason for the high level of damage. Flood projections are calculated from known rainfall figures. Metro Manila has experienced catastrophic flood events along the Marikina Valley and the San Juan River and can expect more. The figures that have been calculated show that there is a possibility of a flood bigger than has been experienced in recent times. The results also show how damaging floodwaters can be expected to move through the city over a period of 48 hours, how high floodwaters will reach, and what the area of inundation will be. Damage is widespread in low-lying parts of the city and adjacent the main river systems. A particularly large damage hotspot occurs in the city of Marikina, where deep floodwaters combine with a high proportion of wooden and makeshift structures, which are easily damaged by flooding. As with winds and flood, the mapping of earthquake events can be related to what is known of land use, and physical and economic damage can be mapped according to where the most fragile forms of housing have been constructed. The population affected can be mapped, and so can the economic damage because of the land use and construction methods. A range of earthquake events were used as the basis for calculations. The hotspots, clearly seen following the West Valley Fault, and areas lining Manila Bay, both the expectation of strong shaking and the high concentration of easily damaged buildings explain this. Risk analysis is employed for locating the areas at risk and quantifying the risk posed by earthquake, severe wind, and flood. We can illustrate this with the example of earthquakes by combining information on the three parts to risk and plotting the quantity of risk. By comparing formal settlements, major commercial areas, and informal settlements, we can see how the measure of risk changes. The factors considered are Hazard, which describes the likely intensity of an earthquake in that area. Exposure, which describes the number and type of buildings that may be at risk to earthquake. And vulnerability, which indicates the expected physical damage and economic loss, which varies from high for makeshift structures to low for reinforced concrete buildings. By identifying those places at greatest risk, we can highlight areas where, for example, modifications to land development or building practices would have most value. By identifying the most at-risk areas, local government units have the opportunity to adapt their planning in new developments and identify those places which, being most at risk, will need early warning of flood danger, early intervention and assistance. The data products that have been produced by the Greater Metropolitan Manila Area Risk Analysis are free and will be readily accessible from the Office of Civil Defence and the Philippines Geo Portal. They will be provided to each local government unit, which can update the data and build their own database for planning, designing and implementing projects, mitigation activities and contingency planning. Flood, earthquake and severe winds will always be a threat to the Greater Metropolitan Manila area. The risk analysis tools help us to understand, prepare for and survive these hazards. Australia stands ready to support the Philippines in this effort. By jointly investing in building the resilience of communities to natural disasters, we can contribute to a safer future for all Filipinos.
And we're back mga ka-Forever. Kasama pa rin po natin ang co-founder at CEO ng Orchestronix Corporation na si Miss Unyx Sta. Ayan, Miss Unyx, mas palawigin pa natin yung ating discussion about this product ng kumpanya ninyo, yung Orchestronix. Halimbawa, may isang company, broadcasting company na nag-avail ng product. Paano nagiging sistema?
Depende. Kasi depende sa business model, di ba? Do you want it on-premise? Ibig sabihin, ikaw yung mag-host ng sarili mong servers, then we can do that. You can license the technology from us. If on-demand naman, yung tipong parang gusto mo lang siya pagkailangan, we can do daily subscription or monthly subscription. So, they can pay per day, per station. Then, if it's a longer engagement, then we can talk about volume pricing.
Okay, usually magkano?
Usually, ang standard pricing would be 1,500 per day per station. So,
Kahit gaano karami ng commercials yun, parang ganon.
kahit gaano karaming commercials.
So per day, 1,500?
1,500.
Negotiable?
Depende
Depende
kasi sa
oo.
long term, depende sa contract kung
Okay.
gaano katagal.
Pero paano yun? Halimbawa, paano yun na-detect or paano yung tracking natin na ito ay commercial na
Right.
and then program na? Paano yun?
So kami ni Raymond, we developed this technology
Okay.
that extracts the audio identification of a recording. So, meaning to say, yung mga audio natin, meron silang sarili nilang DNA na uniquely sa kanila. So, we extract that. Tapos, every time tumutunog siya, natatag siya sa database namin. So, that's how the software works.
So, ganun pa rin, no? Parang may DNA. Alam na natin, tayo mga tao may DNA.
Yes.
So, even ang music, ang audio, may DNA din.
So, the same technology will work to identify songs, to identify commercial, anything na may audio component.
So, ano lang yun? Parang kayo na ba naglalagay nung mismong parang ID nila or what?
Ina-extract siya, dumadaan siya sa algorithm namin. Tapos, meron siyang output na combination of numbers and text, di ba? Na only our software can read it.
So, halimbawa, toothpaste commercial, yan, diretso na yan.
Yes, diretso na siya. Ang first step lang na ginagawa namin is we built the master database of all the commercials airing in the Philippines. So, kung wala pa siya sa database namin, the software will say, this is blank, this is new. Then we have to index it na ito ay brand A, version B. Then, pag nag-air siya ulit, automatic na.
Patented na ba to?
We have patent filed, so it's patent pending.
Kasi di ba, syempre, alam natin ang
Right.
technology,
Yes.
pwedeng makopya or anong tawag doon? Hindi ma-hack, pero pwedeng magawa yung ganitong klase ng program or
Yes.
application.
So, isa yun sa mga una naming inasikaso. And we got the assistance from DOST also.
Pero possibility na makopya talaga.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, in all aspects in business, anybody can copy you, right? So, for me, yung aming prinsipyo dyan is, you just have to be fast.
Correct.
Diba?
So after ng assistance ng DOST Sta inyo, ano pa yung mga development na nagawa ninyo para sa company nyo?
So now, because stable na si Orchestra, we have our own client base na rin. May recurring contracts na siya. It's there. We built a business out of Orchestra. So, we extend features around Orchestra. So now, instead of just tracking commercials, na we put in there yung airing profile, kunyari kung ano yung station pinag-airan, anong date and time, tapos you can play mismo yung material na nag-broadcast. So aside from that, yun yung basic, we already match the airing data with social media conversation. So parang, eto bang TV campaign, nag-generate ba siya ng online buzz in Twitter, in Facebook, and the likes. Parang one way to see if you're getting people notice the commercial, aside from the traditional TV meter rating data.
So ano pa yung ibang-ibang klase ng program na naiisip ninyo? Halimbawa, let's say, syempre alam natin na fast track lahat ng buhay ngayon eh. Di ba
Right.
parang gusto natin lahat instant eh.
Right.
Di ba dito sa Philippines, katulad yan, ang Amerika, nagbotohan, kinabukasan, or kanina lang, alam mo na agad yung result. Meron ba kayong mga ganong initiatives?
So, what I explained earlier, it's more of an extension of Orchestra.
Okay.
Kasi we have to build, parang we have to grow the business of Orchestra to more than monitoring. So, we're doing measurement ngayon na. Now, since we're in the space of media and advertising, kind of, di ba? So, sabi namin, we want to complement it with other products. So, we have Yanihan. It's actually derived from Bayanihan. Kasi the concept around Yanihan is we want to automate collection of data from verified respondents. Kunyari, if you're a brand, you want to conduct a survey, you can easily tap how many respondents you want and ano yung questionnaire mo, and then you can get the response immediately. So, you can make better decision dun sa, kunyari, ilalabas mong commercial, etc. So, we have that Yanihan. So, the other one, we call it Wave Turner.
Okay.
Si Wave Turner naman, parang nanganak siya because we understand that we're tracking commercials na on radio and TV, di ba? And then we realized that there are unsold inventory from radio station and even from TV, di ba? Pero we wanna start with the radio station. So what we did is, it's a marketplace where it's easy to buy radio advertising. So kunyari, if you're a small and medium enterprise and you want to advertise sa favorite mong TV or, radio station, then you can just go to waveturner.com and like you can put in your budget there and you can wait for stations to send your proposals.
Okay.
Or you could just tell us or tell the system kung ano yung mga target demographics mo, and then immediately may mga inventory that will be proposed to you. So parang Airbnb, Uber, but
Yes.
we're doing it for radio advertising.
Ang galing di ba parang mas madali na yung yung transactions,
Yes.
yung dealing, di ba? Parang lahat napapadali na through technology.
Yes.
Do you think meron ba talagang parang sasabihin natin secret to success, or should we have a skills or trait katulad ng mga businessman para maging matagumpay ka talaga?
Sa tingin ko, kailangan talaga alam mo ito yung gusto mo. Just like any kind of career, di ba? We can't like make everybody entrepreneur or we can't make everybody doctors or scientists. So you just have to love what you're doing, and you have, for me, what I'm thankful of is I have a partner, I have a co-founder. So, kumbaga, plus points na we kind of know how to delegate work na tipong, kasi my co-founder is Chief Technology Officer, ako naman doon sa business and operations, diba? So, meron akong katulong in administering this business. What else? I think timing is very important din. So, yung idea, meron ka, and then timing-wise, okay din. So, it's easy to get interested clients too. Sometimes, pag too early ka, mahirap din.
Okay.
So, pag too late naman, wala na,
Correct.
diba? So, timing is very important.
So at this point, masasabi mo na fulfilled ka na ba sa negosyong pinasok mo? Masasabi ka mo na talaga na successful ka? May nabago ba sa pananaw mo sa mundo ng software and technology?
Oh, well, madami pa akong pangarap.
Okay.
Bata pa naman ako, so...
Yes, of course.
Madami pa akong pangarap. I mean, I'm happy and I'm thankful na at least, I mean, if you come to think of it, we've turned 6 years na, noong August, diba? So, buhay pa. So, on that, we're happy that we are able to make it and we built a business, real business. So, now it's more of taking on the challenge. How can we grow it further? Or maybe we'll come up with new companies, diba? So, that's what we're thinking of right
So
now.
6 years na kayong ngayon. What's in store? What's next? In a few years siguro? 5 years from now?
Right.
Ano na?
So, we still have Orchestra
Okay.
there, but we also want to build market around Jenihan and Waveturner and put those three together. So, the way we position Orchestronix now, and like I think I mentioned it earlier,
Yes.
it's really a company building advertising technology or marketing technology. So, that's how Orchestronix is positioned right now.
Abangan natin yan, mga
Yes.
ka-forever. At syempre, doon sa mga
Mga
ka-forever
ka-forever,
natin na,
yes.
na nanonood ngayon, syempre, talagang na-inspire sila sa'yo. At a very young age, di ba, nakita natin yung pagtatagumpay dito sa larangan na to, naging passion mo, naging business, naging successful ka. Ano yung challenges na pwede mong i-share sa kanila? Or yung natutunan mo, greatest lesson na sa pagnenegosyo, siguro?
Sa tingin ko, obviously, if you're in business, ang daming mga challenges. Like, you
Yes.
wouldn't know. Sometimes, you feel like you're going to rule the world, and then the next day, you feel like you have to close the business. You just have to be always ready. You just have to be, you know, what you have to anticipate, diba? And you have to have a clear mind. Kasi you can't just be affected by a bad deal or what, right? But for me, siguro, based dun sa mga nangyari in the past, and even up to now, ang pinakamahirap or challenge na I feel I think about is when I fail people. Like, kunyari, if hindi ko na-communicate properly, I think mas mahirap yung managing people eh. So, that's for me. So,
Pero siguro ikaw talaga,
Right.
very optimistic ka lang talaga.
yes.
Talagang,
You have to be.
Diba?
You have
Dapat
to be.
naman.
I think it's a balance of
Yes.
being optimistic and realistic.
Okay.
So you have to be practical. You have to be ambitious, but you also have to be practical. So I think yun yung reason bakit we're here.
Okay. Ang gala, no? Gusto ko yun. You have to be realistic.
You have to be, you can dream, you
Yes.
can be ambitious, but you
Ambitious
also have to
and
be
realistic.
practical, right?
At syempre, katulad niyan, isa ka sa mga beneficiary ng DOST setup. Paano may encourage naman yung ating mga taga-subaybay na mag-avail din siguro ng ganitong serbisyo na inihandog ng DOST?
Right. So, for those who are thinking of putting up their business, or even those who have businesses right now, you can get in touch with DOST immediately. Super friendly sila. They respond right away. Then they can tell you more about the programs that will fit you the most. I told you about DOST Open TBI. You can have your office there, and then you can, not just the office space, they provide you other business support you need. Then I told you about DOST setup, financial assistance you can avail of. There's nothing really to worry about it. The staff from DOST will walk you and talk you about ano yung mga pwede mong gawin to have your application approved. And what else? Then I talked to you about DOST grant. So iba-iba yan. For us, we got the technology for commercialization. So there.
So pahabol lang. Siyempre, di ba, ito na, may assistance kayo, financial assistance, etc. When it comes to your income, profit, malaking difference. Meron malaking pagbabago sa inyo.
Yes, I don't know if na-mention ko, pero at the start, it was just Raymond and I, diba? So imagine, mga almost 1.5 din na kami lang talaga na employed. But now we're a team of 10 and we're growing.
Okay.
So, and the projects are the one funding all our operating capital. So it's good business, and we're thankful na we have built such a business.
Any future plan na mag-avail kayo ng another setup program siguro?
Pwede,
diba?
pwede. Baka non-technology naman,
Ibang
diba?
business
Oo,
naman,
pwede
diba?
sa food. So,
Correct.
I'm thinking about it. Now I know yung mga ins and outs in the DOST. And for the people out there really interested to put up their business, just contact DOST. They're very friendly to talk to.
Yes.
And maasikaso.
Tama yan. And we love DOST talaga. Any final words po doon sa ating mga taga-subaybay? Pwede na sila invite. Doon sa inyong mga services nila offer.
Right, so you could visit our site. It's www.orchestronix.com. And for the rest, we have yanihan.com and waveturner.com. If you're thinking about a business or putting up your own, DOST can help you with that. Feel free to contact them. They're the best people to tell you what it is and what are the requirements.
Thank you so much, Miss Unyx, and congratulations. And
Thank
more
you.
power pa. Sana makasama ka pa namin sa mga susunod na pagkakataon pagka may bago ka ng negosyo.
Yes.
Babalik ka dito, malay mo, susunod mga food naman, di ba?
Oo.
Food innovations
Yes.
naman from technology. Punta tayo sa pagkain.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ayan mga ka-forever, of course, nakasama natin si Miss Unyx. And good luck at sana po tuloy-tuloy pa ang pagtuklas ng mga innovation at improvement sa inyong software na lalo pang magpapaunlad sa inyong negosyo. At salamat din sa DOST Setup for always giving a helping hand sa mga maliliit na negosyante. Kaya naman, let's all unite in the name of progress and development. Lahat ng negosyo ay may kakabit na challenges on its way to success and profitability. Kaya importante ang support system para panatilihing maging stable at sufficient ang pagpapatakbo ng everyday logistics ng business. Andyan ang DOST setup at DOST-NCR to offer help and upkeep. Lagi po nating tandaan na magkakasama tayong lahat sa tagumpay at pag-unlad. And that's it for today. Kahit anumang panahon ang dumating, babalik kami kay nood lang 11 a.m. to 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. You can visit our webpage at www.dostv.ph and subscribe to our YouTube channel, www.dostv.ph/YouTube, or follow our Twitter and Instagram page, DOSTVPH, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/DOSTVPH. Kaya click na at mag-login para lagi tayong magkasama. Dahil weather lang ang laging nandyan, tagaraw man o tagulan, hindi nang iiwan kahit sino ka man. Kami ang DOSTV na laging nandyan, may bagyo man, kulog o kidlat, hindi namin kayo iiwan. Dahil laging tandaan, weather is forever.